always do, we're going to start with prayer. So in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. God, thank you for bringing us all together today. Help us to be open to all of the ideas Mr. Murphy will share with us about his own personal story of faith and leadership throughout his life. Help us to use his story as an example of how we can be leaders within our Catholic Central community and be a sign of God's loving mercy. Just as Elizabeth Ann Seton was in the face of her pain and sorrow. Through her intercession, allow Mr. Murphy's words to inspire us to lead others to follow a path of love and respect this year. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and teacher. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So just to give you a background of, I'm going to call him Mr. Murphy, Marcus Murphy. Marcus Murphy is a business expert who cares deeply about the flourishing and success of entrepreneurs. He previously worked for Yelp in San Francisco, going from a startup to a multi-billion-dollar giant. He sits on the advisory board at LinkedIn and is a sought-out speaker and trainer to LinkedIn's learning more than 22 million subscribers. Marcus worked at Keep as the Global Partner Development Manager, where he developed and broadened new international markets throughout Europe, Asia, Latin America, and Africa. Marcus is a member of the executive team at the Scalable Company and is widely known for his business partnerships with people and brands like Tony Robbins, Daymond John, and Gary Vaynerchuk, Google, Facebook, and many more. On a personal note, Marcus is a husband to his wife Gina and their two adorable girls, Florence and Pearl, and he is a diehard Ohio State Buckeye fan. He graduated in Catholic Central in 2002 and is a member of the 2001 state soccer team. He played collegiate soccer and double majored in psychology and business at St. Joseph College in Indiana. Currently, Marcus is attending Harvard Business School. I'm lucky to call him a lifelong friend, and we grew up together through our Catholic school days, through St. Teresa days, and through Catholic Central. So please help me welcome Marcus Murphy.
This one? Oh, thank you. Can I get a hug or? Yeah. All right, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Good morning. How's it going? Yeah, good. Can I stay down here? Do you care? All right, good. Because if I'm up there, it feels weird because I have to walk. This was a surreal moment because I thought when I got the phone call to come here and speak, one of the things that was really interesting is I would have hated this when I was in school. All right? Like I would have hated me. I would have been in the back being like, you don't know us. You don't understand. You don't get it, right? And I would have literally sat there for a while and thought about that. And then I said to myself, so I'm going to make you a promise, okay? 30 minutes. 30 minutes today, I'm just literally telling you, so I'm going to promise you that I'll at least keep it entertaining, okay? Tiny bit. Some people are nodding, some people are sleeping. And then I will 100% make sure that you have something that you can go and apply, that you can do and take this from here. Sound good? All right, it's cool. So I think I'm going to need a little bit of help. I don't have a clicker. Are you my clicker? This is my clicker. Everybody, round of applause for the clicker. All right, settle down. He's embarrassed. Stop. All right, so today I'm going to talk about success because all those accolades and all that stuff, I want to show you a little bit about my life, right? So I graduated from high school here. A lot of my friends are over there. Shannon was a good friend of mine, and she reached out to me and said that she wanted me to come speak, so I was like, absolutely. But let me tell you about my life since then. So if we could go to the next slide, and we'll go here. So a little bit about me that's not on that thing, okay, is that I am a husband and father, so I'll click that next one as well. Yeah, we're going to be clicking for a while. I don't know if you want to stand up there. This is my wife, Gina, on the right. I've got two girls. The little one's Pearl. She's 2, and Florence is 4. So I'm the dad. And the next one, I'm actually an amateur comedian. You wouldn't have got that from that crazy bio. Is that at night, no joke, at night, I go out and I do stand-up. like at night, and no one knows about it. Well, now you do, which is good. But I do that. I was an author coming up. I have a new book coming out this year, which is pretty exciting. So I have a book tour that's going to take me all over the world, depending on if we can fly still. And then also, I cut hair to pay for college. Anybody else is kind of like a hustler in here? Is there anybody here that's just like gets it done, kind of grinds it out? By the way, I cleaned out my entire apartment in college, put a barber chair in there, and then I cut hair to pay for a semester of college, and I didn't know how to cut hair. So there were people walking around campus like super jacked up fades, like walking around. And by the time I was a senior, I was better, but there was a moment where it was pretty bad. But the whole point was I've always been like looking for opportunities and been able to try to just figure something out. I love that part about life, all right? Next slide. So here's a little bit about me, so you can keep it on here. But I speak all over. Somebody pays me to speak to these crazy big arenas and all these things. Next one. And I get to work with huge brands. Keep going. You could just like flip every 3 seconds or so. Salesforce. I've been kind of doing partnerships for a really long time and working with people and trying to figure out exactly where to go. Worked with Tony Robbins, got to speak on his stage this year with my business partner. We have an event out in San Diego called Traffic and Conversion Summit, which is 10,000 people, and I host that one, which is pretty exciting. This is in Australia speaking again. I have a TV show, which is pretty fun, to interview all these really cool business people that come, and we have a live studio audience on the advisory board at LinkedIn. Which is good. I have a podcast. Okay, wait, pause here. So this guy, how many people have heard of these brands? The Snuggie. Raise your hand. The Snuggie? Yeah. Okay, it's a little old. How about this one? Squatty Potty. Poopery, right? Okay, cool. We've heard of some of these, right? So this guy, Dan Harmon, created all of those and actually did the marketing campaign. Do you know people have seen his ads 100 billion times? 100 billion. He's the one who made all of those people buy a Snuggie. Why do we need that? It's like, oh, my arms are cold, I can't get the remote. It's like he created a need for that, which is really cool. Next one. I have a new documentary series coming out on Netflix, which is pretty exciting, with a guy named Kevin Hart. And we filmed this last 3 weeks ago in San Francisco, which is pretty exciting to be on camera. And by the way, it's hot. It gets really sweaty. I'm very, you could already see the shine off this forehead. So I had a full-time makeup artist there the entire time, and they're just like, again? And I'm like, yeah, again. I'm sweaty. I'm nervous. Next one. So I teach online. So one of the things that I love doing is workshops for people. But because of the internet, we basically have, my courses go out to about 22 million people every week, which is pretty cool. And so we teach people practical, tactical things, and that's what I've been learning how to do. Next one. Again, just teaching again. This is a great crew of people. The studio, we always do filming. Next one. HubSpot, next one. Send out. The whole point is, we'll keep going, and I think one of the things that I've really thought about through all these years is all these pictures are with other people. Community is massive for me, but also mentors. Let's go back one. Mentors and people that have invested in my life, right? So you're going to see that the majority of people that are around me. So if you go to the next slide, Richard Branson is a good dude, by the way. He smells amazing if you ever meet him. He smells like leather and like lavender. I don't know, just if you wanted to know. But here's the most interesting thing about him. So this was last year, and I got to meet him because he wants to work on a business idea that I have. And so how many people know who Richard Branson is? Raise your hand. No? You ever heard of Virgin Airlines? Virgin Records? I don't know. This guy's like an icon, billionaire. One person, the photographer, she raised her hand. So everything that we kind of know to be cool and hip and everything else with music and all that stuff, Lil Yachty couldn't exist without Richard Branson, all right? So it's really interesting. DaBaby could not exist without him, okay? The word drip couldn't exist without him. But I think it's interesting because what he did, he's worth $3 billion. And he changed the world. But the interesting part was when I was in the room with him, he wasn't the most interesting person in the room. Do you want to know who the most interesting person in the room was? Debbie. Nobody knows Debbie, right? Debbie was his handler for 25 years. And I was sitting there with her and I said, Debbie, how insane is your life? And she goes, well, we're in a different country every day. And I said, every day? And she goes, yeah. She goes, think about your favorite coffee shop or think about your favorite restaurant. Everybody got it? She goes, that's Lithuania for him. And I was like, what? He had no concept. He doesn't have any restraints in his world. If he wants to go do something, he does it. That's an amazing dreamer, right? How many got any dreamers in here? Raise your hand, just real quick. Your guys are but kind of a dreamer. Cool. Next one. Yeah, Grant Cardone, keep going. This guy was really fun. Ice-T, by the way, it's crazy he's still relevant. Like, how many people are old enough to remember when Ice-T was cool? Yeah. And now he's still on a show, and some people are like, do you guys recognize him at all? Is that like somebody? Yeah, people are like, how is that even real? How are you famous for 50 years? I don't even know. But yeah, Ice-T's been a really cool mentor and a guy that even passed the shades. He's a really great businessman. Go ahead. Yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk, keep going. Les Twins, which are amazing, and I work with them all the time. Anybody dancers in here? Anybody do dance? Look up Les Twins, LESTWINS. You won't be disappointed. Next one. Damon John, keep going. The whole point is, all right, I'm super important. No, I'm just kidding. The whole point is, it's like, why do I show you all these slides? Because I'm amazing. No, the real point is that all of that happened after I graduated from high school. But the reality is, if you go to the next slide, is that this is a sobering number. 1.78. What could that be? When I graduated from Catholic Central, I graduated with a 1.78 GPA. Yeah, next slide. They called me smart. It was a D plus, so can I get a little shout? Can I get a woo for the plus, please? Yeah, thank you. All right, cool. It wasn't cool. Stop clapping, all right? But I realized that when I was thinking about this talk, I thought about what would I say to, next slide, to this kid, right? This handsome devil. It's like, I've never seen myself without a beard until I went back in time to look for that photo. But seriously, I thought about, what do I say to this kid? What do I say when I was like 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old? What would I have wanted someone to come back and tell me that might have actually corrected the course of that 1.78 GPA? Because 1.78 GPA on paper, by all means, is unsuccessful, right? So I wanted to be able to do something that allowed me to be able to tell that kid and you what I wish I would have heard. Does that sound like a good topic for this talk? Yeah? Does that sound like a good topic for this talk? Cool. All right. I get like, Okay, good. Just make sure we're alive. All right, next slide. So 15 years ago, I created this kind of success roadmap. I was sitting with a friend of mine, and we were kind of trying to figure out what we wanted to do. We were 20 years old, so clearly we wanted to run the world, but we wanted to figure out what success really looked like. And this is really where I caught this kind of like drive where I really started to move on and speak and do stuff, was when I created and sat down and wrote out this roadmap. So I'm going to share the equation with you today. Cool? All right, so next slide. So how many people love math? Raise your hand. Miss Roth? Great, perfect. By the way, Miss Roth is amazing. I also saw my coach, Shane Latham, is here. Like, these people, Mr. Odell, where's Mr. Odell at? He left because he doesn't care about me? Oh, there he is. Okay, perfect. Mr. DeWitt, is he still around? Billy O'Neill still around? Do you know they used to hit me? I'm just kidding. But they did. Okay, no, just push me in the lockers. It was fine. But this is not math, because I had a 1.78 GPA. So this is an acronym, okay? And we're going to start from right all the way on the far end and work our way this way. So when you're sitting here thinking about success, you need to think about the end result. So what do you think the V stands for? Victory. I love that. This is Catholic Central for sure. What's the V stand for? Victory. Absolutely. Shamrocks and V stands for vision. Yeah. Oh man. I wish I was still a student here. All right. No, I don't. But I wish I did. I really do. I would go back. 1.7 wouldn't exist. Vision. Now here's the deal. I showed you all those people on there. The reason why the majority of successful people are successful is because they know where they're going. They have a very clear picture of what the world looks like that they're trying to attain. How do people feel like they've got a really clear vision of where their life is headed? 2, 3, 4, Ms. Roth? You, thank you. You know why you need a clear vision? Because you can actually get off course on a really great opportunity. Let me say it this way. I've been down the road on a really great opportunity. Pays a lot of money, all that stuff. It's great in the moment. And then 2 years into it, you sit around and go, oh, holy crap, how'd I get here? This is terrible. But it was a great opportunity, right? But why? Why is it bad? Because it wasn't the right one. When you set a vision for your life and you start thinking about that and dreaming big, and someone gives you permission to dream big, when I wish I could talk to that kid and say, you can go to the next slide. When I wish I could talk to that kid, I'd be like, man, you need to figure out where you want to go. And you need to weigh every decision against it. Because it's either taking you one step closer to where you're trying to go, or that opportunity is taking you one step further away, right? And you won't be able to identify the bad opportunities or the things that don't fit unless you know where you're going. Does that make sense? Anybody got big dreams in here, by the way? Huge dreams? Like huge, big dreams? All right, I'm going to ask you for those later. I really want to know. Hold on to that. Keep that in mind. All right, next one. So no one has ever guessed this. I lecture all the time. It's PBC. And if anybody guesses this, I'll give you $100. And it's not peanut butter or chocolate. Don't be funny. Anyone want to try? I think psychology, but the first word is not psychology. Do you want me to give you one word at least? Yeah. Positive. What do you think the next one is? Balance. No. Anybody else want to take a guess? Or you want me to give you the answer? What's that? Belief. Oh, I like that one too. Yeah. Bureaucracy. I can already tell who you are. I know exactly who you are. That's good. That's really good. Thank you for telling me who you are. Okay, so positive behavioral change. Positive behavioral change. Yeah, you would never have gotten that, all right? My $100 is secure. I feel good. Positive behavioral change are AKA the hard things that you have to do to get to your vision. Dude, I literally consult with so many people all over the planet, and they all want to tell me all their big dreams, and then I'm like, okay, cool. So you want to get in shape? And they're like, yeah, this is hypothetical. I'm like, cool, meet me tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., let's go to the gym. And they're like, I'm not a morning person. Oh, you're not a morning person. I tell my wife every year that I'm going to lose some lbs, but then I'm like, I need my Livestrong bracelet and like the right J's, and I got to have I got to get a membership, and I'm making every excuse in the book because whatever I'm trying to accomplish, I'm not serious enough. This is a great measurement. If your vision isn't strong, if your dream isn't big enough, and you don't believe in it, you're not going to do the hard things. You're not going to actually get up at 5 a.m. Anybody ever met like an ultra marathoner or like an Iron Man or Iron Woman? Anybody ever met them? They're lunatics, right? Who is one? Is somebody in here? Is he? Oh yeah, he's in your class? He's an Iron Man? What? I need to do something else in my life. I feel like lazy now. But have you ever, he's crazy, right? Like he's an insane person? Pretty accurate description, never met him. Okay, cool. If you meet people who are incredibly motivated, they'll run barefoot through a wall to get what they want. If their vision's clear enough, they're not going to compromise it, and they've dreamed big enough, you're going to see an incredibly motivated person, and that's a sign that they actually want it. Everybody else who makes an excuse or changes it or does something that doesn't necessarily move one step closer to it, then that vision isn't what you actually want. It's not going to work for you, all right? The next one is, we can click 2 slides now. You're doing a great job, by the way. You feeling all right? You need water? Okay. Next one. So G. G stands for goals. And I think it's really bad. We're the worst goal setters on the planet. Can we agree on that? Yeah? You don't even know what you're agreeing to. You're just shaking your head, all right? When do we set goals every single year? What are they called? New Year's resolution, right? Now, it's really interesting because, let me say this. When do gym memberships go up through the roof? January. When do they dissipate? February, okay? It's like, no, I'm not going to eat cake this year, and then you're knee-deep in cake 2 weeks later, right? Because you make these proclamations and you don't have a plan. The most successful people in the world are goal setters. You know what? No one taught me to set goals in high school. Not my teacher's fault, anybody else, but no one talked about goal setting. No one said, hey, this is how you attain a goal. So here's what I do. Anybody, I don't know if you have whiteboards. Do you have whiteboards here, or do you still use chalk? What? What? Everybody, why are you laughing at that? Is that like old? Mr. O'Neill loved chalk. I don't know what I'm supposed to say right now. He probably, Billy does not want anything to do with whiteboards. Whiteboards, I take the dry erase markers and I write all over my mirrors at home. My wife hates it, okay? But I write my big 3 things I'm accomplishing every single day on my mirror, every day when I wake up. And then the night before, I write down how it connects to my weekly big 3, my monthly big 3, and my yearly big 3, and my 5-year big 3. Look, I could teach you all the acronyms and like all these kind of measurement things with goals, but just remember, your big 3 things. Don't just say, I'm going to the mountaintop. This is the plan. You have to have something that can go from your big three every single day, the things that you're doing every day, moves the thing that you're doing every week, which moves the thing you're doing every year, which moves the thing that you're doing for the 5-year plan. And every single day, if all those things go, you can measure it. And that's super important, right? That's the reason why. Literally, the little trick is that goals, you have to trip over them every day. You have to see them every single day or they'll never happen. You guys have Post-it notes still? Is that still a thing? Anybody, it's called paper and a pencil. Do you guys have that? Okay. Write those down. Put that on your computer or on your locker or anywhere else, the things that you want to accomplish. The 3 things. I'm not asking for 27. I'm asking for 3 things that you want to do every day and be intentional about your life. That's what happens. Now, next one, SK. This is like my favorite part of this whole equation. What do you think SK stands for? 2 words. Super cool with a K. Again, thank you for letting me know who you are. I like this. I feel like we're going to talk later. What do you think? Success is key. All right, I like that motto. This is what successful people call skills and knowledge. Okay? Skills and knowledge. Skills and knowledge, you can go to the next slide. Skills and knowledge are, it's interesting because it's kind of what you're doing right now, kind of. When I was in high school, I used to think that the paramount of success was college. I did. No, I'm not the speaker you brought in on accident to tell you not to go to college, okay? No, that's not what I'm doing today. What I'm telling you is that that isn't an indicator of success in your life. It could be, but most of us I've met a lot of well-educated, unsuccessful people in my life. I really have. Lots of degrees, homeless, okay? Pretty much. And so when you sit around and you think, well, what is it? What is that X factor? What is it about school? How many people are going, by the way, who's my seniors? Where are my seniors at? You guys all going to college? Raise your hand, keep it raised. Yeah, cool, right? Pretty excited about it? Yeah, cool, all right. Is that a bummer, what I just said? Because honestly, when you think about it, I'll talk to you right now, because when you think about coming over to college, and you think of it's a degree on the wall or something like that that's going to make it successful for you, I got graduated from college with a 4.0. But that didn't mean that I was successful. Psychology and business set me up for some of the things I wanted, and it was a part of where I wanted to go. But if you go to school because you just want to go to school, on the other end of it, when you get your degree, that isn't like the miracle drug. Can we all agree? Can I get nods? Yeah. So it's way more than that. You want to know what the actual thing is? The real, actual multiplier for success that every single person, so go to the next one. So you can have a vision for your life. You can have all the changes in the world. You can literally write down all your goals, and you can go to Harvard Business School, which I've sat around, by the way. And hey, it's a cool school. It really is. And I like it, but I'm sitting around a lot of people who are probably going to be in school their whole life and never do anything. So this is what do you think the A stands for? Accomplish. What else? Say it again, say it louder. Action. You're right. Go to the next slide. Action. The most successful people in the world, hear me. When I was 1.78 guy, I wish someone would have told me all these things. I wish I had a vision. I wish I could have like all these things. I wish someone actually instilled those in me. But the biggest thing I wish they would have instilled is for me to take massive action. You know, I go around the world speaking, and I see people taking out their phone and taking pictures of all my slides, and they take all these notes. I don't know what they're doing with them. Really. All these, like, they take out like an iPad and take a picture. Don't do that. That's like the new fanny pack. That's weird, right? But when you think about it, it was like people take all these things, and what I realized is 90% of them will never do anything with the information that they're given. Any success that I've experienced so far in my life is because I'm a doer, because I implement. Content is never the problem. It's implementation that's the problem. If you guys want to be successful, it's not the degree on the wall. It's not your network is your net worth. It's the people who take these big ideas and this big vision and they actually take a step. Do you know how scary it is the first time I ever walked on stage? Frightening. I'm not scared of you now, okay? Well, maybe you. I just pointed in general direction. Isn't that funny? You thought it was you, though, did you? Yeah, that's good. But I think that the people that are actually going to succeed in life, the ones that are doing the biggest things, the one thing that I wanted to know when I was 17 or 18 years old and I was sitting there looking at academia without trying to figure out where I was going, if I could have caught a vision of what my life looked like now, 18 years later, I would have been a very motivated kid. Oh, but I wasn't unintelligent. People liked me, probably too much. I probably was way too social, right, Mr. Roth? That's a confirmation. Shannon, was I social? Too much. Yeah, okay, good. She's not going to give me away, but I was. The whole point is, when it comes to being successful, I want to make sure that you understand that it's the people that take massive action that get it done. It's the people that take the step, that do the hard things, that overcome their fears. In fact, this is the part of the show of crowd engagement, okay? This is going to suck. You're going to feel super scared. And one of you you're going to sit here and you're going to have this like whole thing in the pit of your stomach on my next question. And some of you are going to feel like you really want to get up here. And some of you are going to be terrified, all right? Who wants to come up here right now and share their vision, what they want, their big dream? I saw you out of the corner of my eye. I knew it was going to be you, but hold on. I got another thing for you. I like it. You know what? Come on up here, man. Give him a round of applause. Come on up. So what's your name?
My name is Noah Johnson.
Noah Johnson. What year are you, Noah Johnson?
I graduate 2022.
2022. Perfect. So you got a big dream?
Yes.
A big vision?
Yes.
You wear suspenders?
Yes.
You look good.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. You want to tell everybody what you're... See, are you ready to... Like, making a vision real is proclaiming it out publicly. Mm-hmm. Okay, you ready to tell everybody? Mm-hmm. All right.
So basically, I want to own a multi-billion-dollar corporation that is worldwide, international, that supports both low-class and high-class individuals, that's also very eco-friendly and sustainable. I want to change the world for the better economically and socially.
Okay, give a round of applause for that. Stay ready. Noah, right? So a lot of people would probably sit around and say multi-billion, and they would be like, multi-billion, like that's a crazy idea, right? I've been there. We started out at Yelp with 37 employees. I was one of those. We were making probably about $700,000. When I left, we made $3.2 billion. And I'll tell you, the reason why I tell you that is because some people need to see a roadmap to actually getting there, right? Because seriously, somebody has to go outside the bubble and not die for you to go, I'm going to go outside the bubble too, right? So you can absolutely do that. But here's the other thing. People that take massive action are the ones that get rewarded. Sometimes that reward is failure. It's okay. You'll be all right. Sometimes it's good stuff too. You coming up here and overcoming that fear. Here's a $100 gift card, first of all. And I just want to say that I'm super impressed.
Thank you.
Can we give a huge round of applause for Noah, please? Thank you. So I'm gonna wrap up. Can you go to 2 more slides? There. But I wanted to make you guys a promise, okay? And you can ask questions. I'm here to answer questions. But the one thing I really wanted to tell you is this is a surreal moment for me. Imagine thinking that the pinnacle of success is coming back to your high school, because it feels that way. Like when I got the phone call from Shannon, and when I had Miss Roth, when they worked on me being here and getting here and flying in and doing all this stuff and taking time off my speaking tour and all that stuff to be here, I literally thought I had more butterflies about this than speaking in front of those 30,000 people in the first photo. Do you know why? Because this place meant something to me. Because I learned how to speak very well from Shane Latham. I learned how to be afraid of Mr. DeWitt, which helped me a lot in my life. That 1.78 wasn't my teacher's fault or my coach's. I realized that in many ways, like, it was more about me. And these places gave me a bunch more than that too. Because guess what? All those great pictures up there, I'm gonna tell you another little secret, the X factor. I'm not that good. I mean, God got me through all of that. And it's interesting because that was the foundation I got here. I have an incredible moral compass. You can't be looking over your shoulder and doing bad things when you're trying to be successful. And you got to do the right and narrow. And I learned that here, but I also learned it through, hey, how many people love religion class? Religion class still great? Yeah? Whoa. First of all, why didn't everybody raise their hand? Raise your hand. Was religion class dope? Okay, cool. You guys are like, You'll appreciate it later. I'm telling you, I was just like you. I would have been like, no, I don't like that. I don't like going to mass. I think it's boring. My faith life picked up the same time that all this stuff started to happen. I'm just not that good. I'm not that good. But this place gave me that foundation, and it's an amazing honor to be here. And it's an amazing kind of like moment just to like take this gratitude moment to sit here and like feel grounded in the McCurdy gym, which is a fun thing to say out loud. By the way, Stephen McCurdy, which is one of the brothers here, we also, I think we have a reputation. Do we have a reputation? I feel like we have a reputation. Yeah. We were fun. I just want to take a moment to say, like, I'm super thankful. I'm unbelievably thankful for this place, for these teachers, these people that pushed me forward, for my faith life that began here. I'm thankful for you guys. I really am. And here's my promise. That's my personal email address, not my business one. Nobody has that. It's really easy to figure out, though, right? But seriously, I don't have anybody emailing that inbox. I'm an alumni of this school. If I can ever do anything for you at all, write a recommendation letter. I'm a super good writer, right? I won't make things up about you, but I will talk about the character that you have coming from this institution. And I will 100% advocate for you and be your friend. And so if you need me, email me. Does that sound like a good promise? Guys, I'm so thankful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So thank you to Marcus for coming in and speaking with you. We are going to give you guys a chance to ask a few questions, and I believe Mr. Odell has the microphone to be passed around.
Watch his hand. He heard it. He had surgery on his hand.
I know.
I know.
What was your lowest point in your roadmap to success?
So many. I think the crazy part about social media is that it looks like there aren't any, right? Anybody know that? Yeah, everybody's a TikTok star and everybody's got a really good IG. Yeah, I know. Everybody looks perfect. Yeah. Everybody who has experienced any amount of success has had years of failure. Years of failure. When I first started out and I started to speak, I remember very, very clearly how much I was terrible at it. Like I had the ambition, I wanted the microphone, but I was really, really bad. And when I took my first executive role, walking in as an executive, being 30 years old, I had a goal, by the way, to be an executive at a multi-million-dollar company by the time I was 35. So that happened for me when I was 30. And then when I was 34 is when I was a part of a $100 million company, which was an executive team. But all along the way, the biggest, darkest moments was my insecurity. Was that kind of like self-limiting talk that you get, that internal dialogue that says you can't do it, or like you're not old enough, or you're not good enough, or you're not skinny enough, or you're not smart enough. Those were the darkest moments until I realized that if somebody's going to do it, it might as well be me, right? And I went and did the things I needed to do to make sure that I was successful. So I would say it was the self-doubt and it was the limiting belief syndrome that I experienced, feeling like I was an imposter because I was so young. And literally the boardroom was like 50-year-old people, and there was just me. And I had like J's on and like, you know, like it was an interesting experience for me, but that was really important. You got a second question, Noah? I was my biggest enemy, yeah. Internal dialogue is a killer, for sure. Thank you, that's a good question. Any other questions? Yeah, right here.
I'm Gia Ross, the daughter of Scott Ross.
Oh, yeah. Is that how, that's so, all right, how are you?
But I went to law school. You said you were in law school right now?
Business school, yeah, and
My bad.
HBS. That's right.
But you said you saw people there that you thought were going to be in school your entire life.
Yeah.
Going to law school is going to take forever, and I'm not the most enjoyable person. So do you have any advice for me going into school for like the next 10 years of my life to actually get something?
Yes, that's a great question, thank you. I meant people that are in perpetual school. Like, go to school. If you want to be a lawyer, like, please go to school. If you want to be a doctor, please finish school. Don't be like back alley operator, okay? Like, that's not it. There are some careers that take a significant amount of school. because the place that you go get that information and the accreditation is a place. The reason why, you guys know colleges back when it first started, when education, formalized academia, college started, was because the experts were there. So you went to that school because that's where you could get the information, because libraries, the internet, all that stuff that's super easy for us didn't exist. So when you sit around and you think about being a lawyer or being a doctor or being something that's really that has that component to it, it's so necessary to go to school. And what I meant was, not that you're gonna be in school forever, I'm talking about the people that just wanna kind of perpetually be students and never apply anything that they do. Like I sit around people that are theologians. Well, I'm a tactician. Like I am a practitioner. That's my badge of honor, because I like to go and implement things. I don't like to just sit around and like philosophize, even though I think that's really fun and it's really good over a great cold brew or something. But I do think that what I mean by that is like, yeah, go do your school. Go get it, like absolutely. But just understand that when you're in there, take those ideas and all those dreams and all the things you're learning and go apply them. Because the majority of people I sit around with sometimes in my Harvard discussion groups are people that are probably gonna be just like being theologians the rest of their life. And I think what the world probably needs now is more people that are doers. Other question? Noah has another one. Does anybody, I'm just kidding. Just do it. Go ahead, Noah.
So basically you're saying that like people often go for the pursuit of knowledge and they don't apply the knowledge that they gain.
I'm saying that 95% of all people on the planet do that.
And what would be some tips to help with that for people who don't do that?
So I always think that we get overwhelmed by the amount of input that we have, like the amount of data points. I tell you, if you're reading a book, anybody read in here, by the way? Anybody read it? Yeah? Because you're forced to or because you like to? It's an honest, that's an honest answer, forced to. Do you know how many books that the average American reads a year? Do you know what the median is across all of North America? Let's include Canada too. You said 20, what else? 1.8. 1.8. And it goes to 5 if you include children's books. The most important things I can tell you is like that lifelong learning part, okay? I'm not talking about skills and knowledge you get here. I'm talking about the above and beyond that you do. When you catch that vision, you absolutely will double down on the amount and what you do. Not just reading to read, but take the one big thing that you are actually putting in your brain, the one thing, and just apply it. One thing. Don't get 27 things. You're gonna get overwhelmed and you're not gonna do it. Just try and find the one thing. And that's what I tell everybody when I'm teaching adults about business, is I find the one thing. Just give me the one big nugget that I can go back, the real actionable piece that's gonna move the needle. And that's what I continue to find, is that if you just focus on one thing that you can implement, not 27, you won't feel overwhelmed and you'll actually move and do it. You're doing a great job. You taught me how to type, by the way. Yeah, I'm still pretty good. Just so you know. I still peek under the paper sometimes.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Foley, senior.
Hi, Caitlin.
And what is your favorite place that you travel to doing business?
Oh, man. This happened recently, actually. So I spoke at a conference in Tel Aviv this year, which was probably one of the coolest and scariest things I've ever done. Anybody been to Israel? All right. Shalom. It's an unbelievable place to sit and, because you're learning. In religion class, you learn about Jesus, you learn about the apostles, you learn about all these people, right? It's an unbelievable thing to like stand there on the same ground. Like that moment of connectedness is unbelievable. And the people are amazing, and there's like, it's Mediterranean Sea, so it's blue water and all this crazy stuff. You have to fly through the Middle East to get there. So I spent a good amount of time in the Jordan airport for no reason, but it was worth it. And I literally have gone all these other places. I've been all throughout Africa, Botswana, Zambia. I've been to South Africa, which was amazing, all throughout Europe. But all of those places, and Asia. How many people have been to Asia? Anybody been to Asia in here? Yeah? Not recently, I hope, right? Okay, good. Maybe, I don't know, it's all right. You're probably fine. Okay, so, but all those places to be said, like, I just love the ability, like when I was a kid, I only dreamed of those places. Like I saw the ocean for the first time when I was 26, right? And to think like now I've been to almost every continent minus Antarctica, and like speaking and traveling and doing all that stuff is pretty amazing. But yeah, I would say Israel was like such a cool moment to sit there and be connected to all the stuff we always read about. Like there are literally sounds, like there's a sign, it's like Bethlehem. And I'm like, what? That's like a real place? Yeah. Is there a manger? I need to go there. No, thank you. That's my question. By the way, where do you want to go? What's the most exciting place you want to go? You can just yell it out.
Well, next year I go to the University of Tennessee.
That is it.
Division I soccer.
That's amazing.
So I'm really excited for that. But
Go Vols, right?
Go Vols.
Hey, all right.
Hopefully someday I can play pro soccer.
Yeah, I know a couple of those people. So Brad Guzan is one of my best friends. And I tell you, my email's there. So let me know if there's anything I can do for you.
Hi, my name is Jenna. I wanted to ask if there's like a job that you felt like gave you a breakthrough, like the job that you felt like this is it, this is what's leading to the room.
Yeah, so let me give you my job history that you won't find on LinkedIn, okay? So my first job was an illustrious working MBA at Enterprise Rental Car. That was great. I'm joking. Have you ever been to Enterprise? Have you been with your parents when they rent a car? Yeah, it's super fun. I was wearing a suit every day and like vacuuming up my tie and selling insurance from the table, which was what we were incentivized to do, which is crazy. The next job, though, was the breakthrough for me. I worked at Syracuse University as an admissions counselor, okay? And I remember one day I was in an arena like this, giving an information session. Now, you seniors, you've been through a bunch of those visiting colleges, probably. How many of you just wanted to jam a pencil in your eye because of how boring it was? Yeah, everyone. It was terrible. So they gave me this script, and they're like, go out there and sell education. And I'm like, okay. And I stood there, I was like, we were founded in 18, and I had to do this script. And so one day I looked around, and I saw all these kids sleeping. And I was like, oh, I stopped. I'm like, hey, raise your hand if this is terrible. And one kid like raised his hand, and his mom would like hit him, you know. And then I laughed because I was sitting around, and I go, hey, well, let me stop. I'm going to change this up. I'm going to call an audible. Let me just tell you what college is like. Does that sound cool? So I told stories about my first roommate. My mom dropped me off at school. I talked about all the shenanigans that happened, but I talked about life. I talked about like happy, sad, homesick, and love, all that stuff that you go through in the course of 4 crazy years. And I shared that for the first time. And all of a sudden, applications were like, doo, 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 doo. But here's the deal. I didn't tell anybody I changed the script. So one day I got a phone call from our dean of the college, and she goes, hey, can you meet me in the chancellor's office? She was in one of your presentations this weekend. And I was like, I like going to throw up. I was like, okay, I'll be up there. I was like, sure, I was getting fired. So I'm like in the executive elevator going to the chancellor of the University of Syracuse University, okay? And I'm up in like the tower, and I get out, and I walk in, I'm like sweating, kind of like now. Just thinking about it, like my feet are sweating. And I literally sat there, and I look at the dean, and she's like, the chancellor goes, I was in your session, and I know you deviated from the script. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, it was fantastic. And I was like, whoa. and she said, hey, can you go and teach everybody else how to do that presentation? We need to tweak it a little bit. And then I did that. I did 150 presentations a year, and then they sent me all over to like Harvard and BU and all these other schools to teach them how to do admissions presentations. I was 22 years old. And I sat there and I was like, I'm gonna be a public speaker, right? No, I didn't. I literally thought to myself like, wow, I matter. Like people hear me and they see me. That's crazy. And that was the turning point, because I knew that I was like, oh, I can speak and I can communicate, and what does that life look like? So that was like the biggest role for me to figure out how to, you know, how can I double down on this and learn more? It's a great question. Do we have time for more? Is that okay, or do you need one more? Okay, all right, yeah, sure.
Hi, I'm Trisha.
Hi, Trisha.
Just out of curiosity, what's the biggest crowd of people that you've spoken in front of?
So it was last year's 35,000. It was in the Marlins Stadium, by the way, which the acoustics were terrible in that place. And in fact, that was the most people the Marlins had ever had in that stadium in a really long time, okay? But it was the Marlins baseball stadium at a conference called 10X GrowthCon. And it was, you know who went on before me? Snoop Dogg. And you can't follow that. Like, I got out there and I was just like, what? Like, how do I get past the shizzle? Like, my dizzle? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then you get up there and you're talking about business stuff, and you're just like, everybody just wants to rock, so it's really funny, yeah. Is there one back here? Hi, Emily.
It said you were an author. What books did you write?
Yeah, so I'm writing a book. That's the one that's coming out. Yeah, so it's called, there's 2 books. All right, I'm gonna tell you. I haven't told a lot of people because my publicist would probably murder me. But hey, we're family, right? Okay, cool. The first one is called More Than a Closer, and that one's going to be about modern selling, like sales. How many people love salespeople? Yeah, me either. Sarah. It's like, because salespeople are like slimy, scammy. They want your money and your wallet and all that, right? That's how it feels. So over the last 15 years, I perfected a bunch of different methods that actually help people to be more trustworthy, more considerate, more consultative in their sales approach. And so I have that book that's coming out, and it's filled with like irreverent humor and stuff. That's kind of my character diamond is. You guys know what a character diamond is? You want a real crash course in it? Okay. Character diamond is basically like, if you're a savant in business, you have to have a deficiency to balance you out. So like, I am an expert at blah, 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 but I'm also irreverent with my humor to balance out. It's like this. How many people like Superman? Anybody like Superman? Think Superman's kind of cool? Yeah, cool. Superman, somebody's like, no, we don't like Superman, Marcus. But listen, hear me out. Here's the character diamond. Superman has a bunch of superpowers, but was a nerd, and also a rock could kill him. Because if he wasn't a nerd and didn't have a rock deficiency, he'd be a jerk. Because all of us sit here and we can't fly, and he can. We'd be like, well, okay, you're perfect and you can fly and you're good looking. What? I don't like you. You have no deficiencies at all? You can stop trains? You have laser eyes? We wouldn't like him. So we have to have something to balance it out. So the book and the way that I write and the way I put content out in the world is I write through that lens. I figure out how do I write and connect with people while still giving it an expert angle. The other book is one that I'm writing where I have to go spend 30 days with really famous people, which is kind of fun. It's called At the Feet of Kings. And the book is actually about the people that famous people surround themselves with, like their actual teams, the dynamic. And it's their view of that famous person. So like Oprah, Ellen, Kevin Hart, LeBron James is on that list, which is pretty cool. So I get to go 30 days and just spend time with their team and talk about that person through the perspective of their team. That seemed like a pretty cool book? Yeah, right? The intimate kind of view of someone's life that's famous and figuring out how they actually look and stay up there. Well, a lot of it's because they have amazing teams, like Debbie. Remember Debbie, that story with Richard Branson? The Debbies of the world are what keep things going, and I really want to write a book about her. Whew. What else we got? Okay, yeah, okay. You want to just work our way down here? Getting your exercise. Yeah?
Hi, I'm Sydney.
Hi, Sydney.
I was wondering, when did you realize that you had a goal and what inspired you to pursue it?
Yeah. So I had a general vision for my life, and it was kind of like, anybody have like a personal mission statement for their life? Yeah, me either, when I was your age. Hey, anybody have like really big dreams? So basically, I thought when I was 25 years old that what I wanted to do was put more intentionality and love in the world that drives people to want to take positive change in their life. That was my personal mission statement. And I didn't know how to accomplish that. And then but when I put a mission statement out there in the world, like my own one, my little tiny personal mission statement, I then could actually move toward it. And I'll tell you, that's kind of like that vision part of it. But there was that specific moment. It was probably when I was 25 years old when I was sitting here writing that equation down on a napkin with my friend that really changed my life. And that's right before Syracuse University happened. That's all that stuff. Because I was sitting at Enterprise Rental Car being like, I don't like this at all. And it's interesting what really comes out of necessity when you're forced against the wall. Like when I first became an entrepreneur, I couldn't fail. I was too motivated. There's no way I was going to fail because I didn't want that, right? So I worked harder than everybody. I was like, I'm not as smart as everybody else, but I'm going to work hard. I'm going to outwork everybody, and I made that commitment. But it was that shortly in that moment with the goal that I was sitting there thinking, like, what is my personal mission in life, and how can I move toward that? That was a big one for me. Thank you. That's a good question. There was a bunch of hands over here. Okay. What about in the back? Can we go there first? Oh, sorry. Is this weird, awkward now that I picked somebody else? Okay, good.
Hi, I'm Megan.
I'm Megan.
My question is, who was your favorite Catholic Central teacher?
That's your granddaughter? Oh, man. That's a plant right there. That was a planted question. Oh, man. I'm gonna I'm going to say it. No, I'm going to say it. I'm just, every teacher had a special place in my heart. Okay? All you teachers out there. But the biggest, Mr. DeWitt, I need to say this. Mr. DeWitt he really did hit me. No, I'm just kidding. would that be a funny way to say that? All right. Mr. DeWitt, I didn't grow up with a dad, okay? So like single mom, hardworking, 3 jobs, put us through private schools. Mr. DeWitt was very fatherly for me and took an active interest in my life way beyond being my teacher. Was there to cry with me, was there to correct me. And honestly, was just a guy that I wanted to be like. And I think that, early on I had some pretty amazing male role models and just teachers in my life, period, through my coaches. I'd say it's probably a tie between Shane and Mr. DeWitt. And Shane Latham, by the way, is not a teacher, but I remember kind of saying, this is the classiest guy I've ever met, and if I could just be like him and speak like him and be Welsh, I would do that in a heartbeat. So yeah, I would say that, and it's really hard because you're Mr. Odell's granddaughter, so that's really awkward. But thank you for the question. I really appreciate it. In the back, there's one right there. Question?
You said you're making a Netflix show?
Yeah.
I was wondering, are you allowed to say what it's going to be called?
Absolutely not. But I will. So it's a part of a series. So I'm a part of the episodic series that follows a bunch of like teachers and speakers and all this stuff. There's a friend of mine that you guys should all look up. His name is Billie Jean Shaw. And Billy, who people really don't probably know that name yet, but Billie Jean is about to be the most famous person ever with this series because he's the guy who created Kevin Hart's and DaBaby and all these people's brands. And for the parents in the room who don't know what DaBaby is, I'm sorry, that's not going to help you at all. That he's a rapper, and I know you just glossed over, but these brands are hard to build. And they're really crazy. They take a huge team of people to create these big megastars. It's really funny. I can't even share this, but Justin Bieber's in it, which is cool. And the Biebs is a cool guy, by the way. He is very tattooed. Not my preference, but he's a fun guy to be around. And he gets to be a part of like how did his brand have this longevity, even through all the crazy stuff that he did, which people seem to forget about. But all that stuff, how did it happen? How did he stay that way? So when it does come out, I'll send an email, and you'll know. What else? Anybody? Okay, one more. Perfect. Good. I was sweating. Super sweaty. I'm just kidding. The last question. No pressure. No pressure. I got you. If I ever what? Met DaBaby? No, I haven't met. That's the best question to end on. No, gosh. I would love to, though. He seems interesting. All right. Hey, thank you again. Thank you so much. And here's the deal. I'll answer those questions. I'll hang out for a little while. But thanks again. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's give Marcus one more round of applause.